For many people, the act of skiing or snowboarding is an activity that harnesses true emotion. It's something that allows us to step away from reality for a moment and not think about the world around us. But what does skiing or snowboarding mean to each individual?
It's passion. I started skiing when I was 4 years old, and it means freedom, passion, just something that I love to do, and it's just part of me. It's part of my soul.
For me, it's an excuse to excuse myself from responsibility and the norms that clutter my life. Skiing is a manipulation of the world in which I live in. At any given moment on the mountain, I can imagine a world without so much materialism and greed. A world with happiness at the root of all things. It's a place I can go alone, or with others, and be me. But skiing is dependent on Mother Nature to provide the necessary medium to conduct its activities. We must have snow in order to ski, and the past 2 seasons have produced 2 winters exhibiting characteristics from opposite sides of the snow spectrum. The winter of 2010-11 was an above-average snowfall year, creating epic conditions on an almost predictable timeline. The winter following, not so much. Winter of 2011-2012 was dismal at best, creating an atmosphere that is innovative and optimistic. Not being blessed with limitless face shots and bottomless powder, skiers throughout the Denver area used companionship and flexibility in their schedules to make the most out of what was given to them. So what is a perfect day of skiing?
Perfect day of skiing is the people. As much as I've had some amazing weather conditions and confluence of circumstances, whether it be terrain, weather, whatever, right place, right time. Rarely do I have a ski day better than when my brother comes out to visit and we just rip up the same places we've been going to since we were 6 years old.
Having obviously some phenomenal powder would be perfect. With a bluebird day on top of that, amazing. Having the right companions to be out skiing with, and being able to share the experience with. Not a lot of lift lines, and just out skiing. It doesn't have to be all those, but that would be the perfect thing in my opinion.
When the upcoming ski seasons are upon us, many skiers and snowboarders turn to a trusted name in seasonal prediction, the Farmer's Almanac. For the season of 2010-2011, the Farmer's Almanac predicted milder than normal winter temperatures and that the precipitation will be kinder and gentler than the previous year. While predictions are just that, predictions, the Farmer's Almanac essentially got it wrong for that upcoming season. Skiers and snowboarders ran amok in what seemed to be endless snowstorms, creating heroic conditions on a weekly basis. So coming off that kind of season, many skiers and snowboarders in the area spent their summer expecting another huge season. What kind of expectations did they have?
We thought it was going to be more of the same. I mean, it's either you're fooling yourself or you really believe it. It's like rooting for your favorite sports team. It doesn't matter. You think you're going to win.
I always keep my expectations up there, but growing up here, I know that it can change. We're kind of dependent on Mother Nature, and I try and keep the cup half full, but you have to adapt a bit when that does happen. We get the great, and then we have to deal with the opposite occasionally and make some changes when it happens.
An interesting concept. Adaptation is something that these people had to exhibit in order to keep an optimistic look on the 2011-2012 season. But, unfortunately, this cannot be blamed on ill forecasting of the 2011-2012 season. The Farmer's Almanac predicted a dry, below-average precipitated winter with the average temperatures. And what did we get? Just that. So, as mentioned before, these people exhibited adaptation methods to cope with the lack of snow, looking at specific resorts to pinpoint where they might get better conditions, and relying on companionships of friends and family to make the most of what they were given.
When he cut up all the boa, things I hate, lies and things that make my blood boa constricted.
Being a skier is watching the weather for sure. Having all those favorites set up on your computer. So the first thing I do in the morning, almost always in the wintertime, is look at radar and what's going on up in the mountains, and having a bag packed, being ready to leave at any second, right? But at the same time, you definitely think, well, the snow is going to be this way, so we're going to go here. And you make plans because that's what you have to do in order to coordinate with other people, but half of the adventure is always changing your mind in the morning and doing something else.
Baby.
Well, you know, I think a lot of the, I'm always optimistic again that we're going to have a good snow year. Yeah, I really anticipate it's going to happen. But I understand where I need to be with the customers. You know, they're a little apprehensive, and you know, I need to reassure them about, you know, history, that it generally comes around and it's going to happen. You know, it was a rough year last year, but it was, you know, they were still skiing. We're lucky to still be able to ski.
The hype going into the 2011 and 2012 season didn't just perk up the expectations of skiers and snowboarders, it also played hugely into the expectation of retail stores that deal with the snow sports industry, forcing them to adapt and focus on other things in order to stay profitable.
Last year, there was definitely a lot of hype, going into the season. I think everyone expected it to be a good season. We started out good and had some, you know, a couple early snowstorms, and but obviously it didn't turn out very well. So I think that it is a cycle. I mean, when you have a bad year, you usually have a good year following that. I mean, you may have sometimes 2 or 3 bad years in a row, but it does cycle to some extent, and you always climb back out. So I never worry about it too much. I mean, it is what it is, and like I said, you can't, you know, it either snows or it doesn't. You can't change that, so you just kind of have to go with it and hopefully prepare yourself for those bad years, and good years, it's all kind of gravy. So